I remember my mom apologizing to me about her thought process that she had before my arrival. And so many of you have heard this testimony before. Some of you have not. Her desire was not to have me. And it was something that she lived in regret for a very long time after having me, after me coming into my own and coming into manhood and creating a life for myself and truly being different. Because I've said this before. Me and my brothers, we don't walk the same path.
Yes.
And that's okay.
Yes, yeah. That's right.
But being my own man and following in a way. And so with that being said, she apologized and repented to God and apologized to me.
Yes,
And at the time I was young, I was a teenager still, so I didn't know how to understand it, didn't know how to take it. So I had some pent up resentment and frustration after learning that. It was one of those things where I thought to myself, you could have kept that to yourself. But now I had to learn to accept and understand that she was given an opportunity to wipe the slate clean.
Absolutely.
Because there may have been actions that she operated in based off of guilt, based off of confusion, based off of frustration, based off of anger. And so her coming back to apologize to me could have literally meant I didn't do the best for you because I really didn't want to keep you at the time and didn't know what I had on the inside of me. But now that I know, I'm coming to you to apologize, because if I'd done what I wanted to do and had not had you, there would be no. So you're understanding of what there is, and that's a part of the thing I think that parents are starting to fail at in this season of life, is knowing what you have. No, children are gifts, and you have to understand that gifts come with benefits. So your children, if you're looking at them from the perspective of a gift, then there ought to be some benefits or some treasure on the inside of that gift. You don't get a gift box open and it's empty. You can't call that a gift. A gift has something on the inside.
Right.
So I think that parents are being disconnected from their children in such a way that they're not seeing them as gifts. They're seeing them as, well, and they may be seeing them as benefits, but not gifts.
Right.
That's not blessings.
Not blessings. And the thing, and I think sometimes parents can be so overwhelming. For example, my twins, I can share this, I had them in track, at the time I was married, so they ran track. They went to high school. They had a scholarship at one of the Big 12s. So guess what? Life happened to them at 18.
Yes.
On campus. It knocked them out to where now they had so much disappointment. Now they're living in the disappointment. Now I'm trying to share with them, you got to get up and fight. Let's get it together. And they're listening to the wrong people. They're listening to the wrong people. So there are some times when you even communicate to your 21-year-old, sometimes life have to teach them what they refuse to listen to their parent. I'm telling them, do this. I'm praying for them. I'm showing you different alternatives. They don't want to take it. They're just like, whatever. Okay, you know what? At one point, you're going to have to learn it. I'm trying to communicate. And what happens when they don't open up? You've tried to make yourself. See, sometimes parents have made themselves available, and they don't open up. What do? Well, I'm going to tell you what you do. You pray, and you have to go on and pray that they wake up.
Yes.
Because sometimes the trauma wasn't brought on by you. It was brought on with what happened at school. And well, let me help you. What if they shut down? What if you go to them and then what if you even go to the campus and fight for them at the campus, and the campus shut them down? What do you do then? You keep praying. You keep pushing forward. That's what you keep doing, because that's happening. Because I need you to know there are some parents that don't do anything, but I'm talking about parents that do. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So go ahead.
All right, and I'm going to say this last little thing, and then we're going to move on to the next question. This is very, very good.
It is.
As life progresses now, all y'all know I don't have no children. Okay?
And don't rush
I love
to get them. Don't rush.
But I don't have not a one of them, and
rush.
I'm all right with it, because I want to find the right mate and the right person that is going to
we want God to send you the right mate.
Yes.
Kingdom woman, not a church woman, a kingdom woman.
That's right.
I'm done.
But I want, like I say, God to send me the right mate, and I want to be able to, have someone that I can walk with in raising children.
Yes.
And so with that being said, I always look at the raising children element in this perspective. As parents, as children come, they cannot walk, they cannot crawl, they can't pretty much do anything. And so as a parent, it is my job to get you to a point where you are able to stand on your own 2 feet. Okay? And with that being said, once and so that's spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, where you can stand on your own 2 feet. Once I've gotten you to that point, then life bears a responsibility to teach you how to walk, to teach you how to run, to teach you how to climb. And so I say all that because it's reflecting of a point, parents, where you may have to let go of what it is that your children are doing, aren't doing, could be doing. You have to let go and allow life. See, as parents, you gave them life.
That's right.
Okay?
Come on.
So now that they're here existing in life, okay, life has to give them something.
That's right. That's right.
And life can't give them something if you want to give them everything.
That's right. That's right. That's why. What you got to do?
You got to let go at some point. And the thing about it is, life will tell you when that point is, but don't ignore life.
Absolutely.
So, like I said, life wants to give your children something, but it can't give your children anything if you're giving your children everything. And the thing about it is I know that we have a thought process sometimes that we want to give our children more than we had and all that kind of stuff. But that's a dangerous place to be, because what you do is then you put obstacles in their way.
That's right. That's right. Can I say something on that?
Go
Let
ahead.
me say this, and this is where I messed up at. Unfortunately, we live in a fallen world.
Yes.
We have to prepare our children for disappointment,
Yes.
for discouragement, for betrayal, for being let down.
Because that's life.
I'm sorry. That is life. And we don't do that because of just what Davion said. He said we want to give them everything. That is not life. So at home, we're preparing them, but we are not preparing them for life. We got to prepare for a friend may be jealous over you. And you can come and say, you know what, I'll be okay, because guess what? My mom prepared us for that. But typically, we don't prepare them for the real life situations they're going to have. You cannot sit here and tell me everybody in here has been betrayed. Everybody has been let down.
Yes.
Everybody
lied to,
but
all that.
I did not adequately prepare my children for that because I guess I had a mindset, everybody gonna be like me. But they're not gonna be that way. They're not gonna love you. We might not be with you all your life. We did not. I can say that. And it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's just to let them know, baby, your daddy loves you.
It's just the real thing.
It's the real thing.
Yeah.
When you become a dad, you know what? I love you, son. But when you walk up this door, you may have some people that's going to hate you. But this is what I need you to do when that happens. You know what? I love you. But you know what? You may have somebody that your teacher, let's go. I can go deep. I'm be done. Professor tried to do my daughter wrong. But guess what? I didn't. She took it. It just wore her out.
Yes.
Because I hadn't adequately prepared her for how people can be. That's all I'm saying. I'm done. Go ahead.
Absolutely. The next question, we've kind of answered it in a way, but I specifically want to speak to this portion of it. The question says, what techniques do you employ for parents supporting children that might have special needs? So I just kind of want to
real quickly
just kind of integrate any advice you can give for that reason.
With techniques, basically, you just want to, I think in supporting parents, just being there, listening, collaboration, giving them resources, and those resources that are truly verifiable and really usable.
Yes.
That's basically it.
Yes. All right. And that's good. Like I say, there other elements, everything else you done got so far. So we're just kind of implementing that for our parents. You do work with those who are in special needs, so we want to. And this is another question. What advice, this is part B, because this is a real deal thing.
Absolutely.
Especially in our community.
Absolutely.
What advice of support could you give to parents who might suspect their child may have special needs, but has not confirmed a diagnosis?
Well, first of all, in suspecting, I would tell them twofold. Either you go to your doctor and get tested, and or you go to your school district to see if they can get tested, and you go for that. Now, you have some parents don't want their kids tested, and so in that manner, then you would have to do an assessment. For example, I would do an assessment on their academics, seeing where they're at grade level.
Yes.
So, for example, they're in the 7th grade, but I give them a math test, and they are on the 2nd grade level. That's some problem. That's a learning disability.
Yes.
And, you know, we can only do so much, so you got to make sure that that parent is given the right direction on where to go. I would say go to the district, but what if you homeschool? Well, homeschooling, then you got to get a very qualified special ed tutor that can help your child.
Right.
Close that gap. So that's
good. Yes, and like I said, I think that what you said is the reason why I asked this question. Some parents don't want their children tested. They don't want their children labeled, that kind of thing. It's not about you.
It's not.
And that's the hump we got to get over, especially within my community, the Black community.
Right.
Parenting is not about you.
It's
you
not about.
Have to always keep in mind what your child needs.
And can I say this real quick? And even if you get your child is labeled at school, they don't have to stay labeled. If you see that they have progressed adequately, you can easily call an order and say, you know what, I would like my child dismissed from special ed because I've seen their growth. And guess what? We have to adhere to that.
Yes.
So again, it's just for a moment to get, you know, your child has some deficits. You know that. It's not going to, because some of you all didn't meet to your children when you had them.
Yes.
So let's be real about some of the issues that's going on here.
Right.
So what you can do is, guess what? They don't have to stay there. Just get them the help. As you said, it's not about you and your image. You're trying to project the image.
Right.
I got a smart child. My child can never be special ed. Girl, bye.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's real. That's very real. We have to
That's a good point you made.
take that into consideration, because at the end of the day, it's about what the children lead, and it's also about, as we just stated, getting them prepared for life.
Yes.
Because when they go out there in life, you can't be there every step of the way. They have to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, which is your responsibility. Life has things to offer your children, and you have to let them live their life so they can get what they need from life. But you have to give them what they need from you, and that's to stand on their own 2 feet.
Right.
And like I say, with that being said, you know, you have a lot of children out there with anger issues, with emotional issues, things like that, and those are also issues that causes deficit with learning.
Absolutely.
Because if all you're thinking about is what you're angry about, you're not focusing on ABC 1, 2, 3, 2 plus 2 equals 4. You're not focused on that.
And that's what I had to do with my students. My students would come to school. I would hate for them to go home for the weekend because I knew the weekend.
Oh yeah.
I would have to go. I would have to rebuild what was torn up. So I would have to make sure they come in my classroom and write in their journal. And their journal would tell me what they experienced the weekend. So when I read it, I know which way to come at them. So sometimes it couldn't be just a barrage of academics. I had to go maybe tell my parent, hey, sit here and do this with this group. I'm going into another room and talking to another student about their feelings to get what happened. What happened?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you do me a favor? What? See, you have to talk to kids. Can you got it out, right? Right, we talked about it, right? Can you just do these problems for me and let's work on this? And maybe the work will take your mind off. And because I listened, I let them get their feelings out. Guess what they did?
They did what you asked. They did what they needed to do.
Because unfortunately, let's say this, and I'm gonna say this: if you talk about parents, sometimes parents are doing the best they can what they have. So what we say they could do better on, they probably could, but they're dealing with the best.
Yes.
With what they have, not what we think they should. Not what they think they should have. What they have.
Absolutely. I agree, 100%.
Come on.
This is where we challenge.
Come on.
This is where we challenge because, for me,
go ahead.
My mom was married. My stepfather pretty much raised me. They got divorced when I was right at 12 or 13, and that in between age, that was a very tough time.
Yes, it was.
To be divorced, right? The man has been raising me all this time. He's leaving. What? And of course, my mom from that point on, before that she was a single mother, from that point on was a single mother. She did the best with what she had, right? With what she could. This is where I honor my mother above that statement.
Come on.
Because with what she did not have and with what she could not do, she sought help. And that's where I'm challenging parents in this.
Yes.
Because you can do the best you can. You know why it's not good enough? Because you're not seeking help to do better. See, my mom, after you know, she divorced her husband and she was a single mother again.
And that was hard.
Very hard.
I'm divorced. I know that's not easy.
Very hard. She put me in front of great men that could continue to pour into me. Instead of locking me up because she was upset about how the situation turned out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Instead of shutting down and shutting out, and eventually that would have shut me down and shut me out. You understand what I'm saying? Because of her own personal, emotional, or whatever that issue was that caused the divorce. And it wasn't, you know, any of our fault.
No, it wasn't. That's between two adults.
It's between two adults. But she didn't allow that to be the end factor for me. So she kept us all in church. She kept us all in activity. She kept us all in different things to keep us accessed, or to give us access to other opportunities. Why? Because the second parent was no longer there. Now, with that being said, that could have been a different outcome had she said to herself, well, I'm a single parent now, and this is what I have. But she chose to say, no, I don't have this, and I don't have that, and I can't do this for my boys, and I can't teach them that. But I'm going to find alternative things because that's what they need. So this is what I'm challenging our parents to think beyond, I did the best that I could. Because there's so much more that can be done. But
it can be. But again, thank you, Lord. Your mother chose that mindset. Everybody, and this is what I'm saying. It's a choice. But I gotta say this because I gotta look at all angles. That worked well, and she did that. But there are some who don't have a choice or don't believe they have a choice. So I know because I'm talking to these parents. I'm in a class with them, and they're crying. And there's no way I can go in there and say, well, you should have did this. No, sir.
No. Like I said, we don't do that.
No, what I will do is say, you know what? Consider this alternative and consider that alternative. And when you say that to them, if they don't choose it, there's no reason for me to look indifferent about them. What that makes me do as a teacher, let me pray for them. Yeah, because again, with my own divorce, it was my boys were 18. They were in college, and again, I wanted them to go away to college because I knew the pain and I knew what I was, dealing with. But again, I didn't have a mindset to say, well, guess what, you can't make it because me and your dad. No, I expect you, but they still went and did what I didn't want them to do. So I look at your mother is phenomenal. A lot of women are like that. But there's some. I'm thinking about odd meetings,
right?
And I'm thinking about how that parent could not see hope because she didn't see hope for herself.
Thank you.
And so somebody had. I tried to say little things, but I had to be careful how I said it because I'm under the district.
Yes.
But I said it in a way, but I could not, Davion, look at her and say, you're just not a good parent. No.
So what we don't do is we don't pass judgment.
Oh. I'm done.
We don't pass judgment, and we don't put you in a negative regard. But you have to challenge, because that's the only thing. And like I said, life. We spoke this already. Life has something to offer each and every one of us. So when we enable children, we don't get them to connect to life, that they can receive from life what they need, right? But with that being said, challenge is how you press forward in life.
Absolutely.
And so we already kind of come to the basis of what it is we're talking about.
Yes.
But everyone listening, right?
Listening.
You cannot stop at what you have.
Yep. You
cannot stop at what you think, what you got. Because There's so many. You just swipe that.
Okay.
There's so many people out there who have no hope, have no light at the end of their tunnel, and all that kind of stuff. These outlets and this podcast and this conversation is what's needed.
Absolutely.
To understand that there are other ways, there are other options, and it starts with, like you said, a choice, but it presses on into, I need help.
Yeah. And then when you do offer the help, I'm telling you, I know, I'm sitting at the table with these parents. The sad thing about it is their choice, whether they take it or not. Go ahead.
Whether they take it or not, you know where that stems from? Their needs not being met at 7 years old.
Right. Oh, I agree.
So it's a cycle, and that's what we're getting at. It's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
And when I say parents saying I need help, we're not talking about your right now.
Right.
We're talking about your roots.
Your roots. Oh, yeah.
So counseling, therapy.
Counseling is good. I went. It is really good.
Conversations, all those things is where you got to start as parent to fix you.
Right.
Because you'll never, ever be better to your children.
Right.
Until you get your...
Right. And quit being angry with your child because, for example, the dad is gone or the dad left. That's not your child's fault. Go get some counseling and don't take it out on that child. Please, I can't reiterate that. Or even if you're in a alternative lifestyle, I've got parents that way, and you're angry because you and your significant other has issues, and take it on that child. Do not separate that. Separate that from that child. That's not that child's issue, because I've seen it where you're sharing things with that child about that person, and they come and tell me, and then they're angry. Yeah. And then the next week, you and everybody else, you're happy. Yeah. And that child is, you got
still I'm carrying those burdens.
Yes.
Okay, so we got. I'm gonna ask this one more question because I think we've answered.
I think we've done we've
pretty much all of them. But I'm gonna do this one question because this is important.
Okay.
In a climate. In this climate, where child trafficking and the discovery of so much controversy behind children are being discovered and exploited, how can households better their environment to keep their children safe? And we've kind of spoken to it in elements, but I want to specifically speak to this and hit it home.
Go ahead.
So earlier we were talking about trauma, and we were talking about violations, and violations happening between children and people that they found or should have found trustworthy. This is the start of where I believe a lot of this stuff stems from, because when you talk to, and I've seen a lot of interviews on ex-parents and things like that.
Oh my God!
They literally have a system.
They sure do. Oh yeah.
They can walk in a restaurant and look at their next victim.
Isn't that sad? And it's a kid.
And it's a kid.
And it's a grown person. Keep talking.
They can look at the next victim. She's holding her head down to the left.
Yes.
Oh, that must mean she got something on her mind. You understand what they literally have psychological cues that they understand for someone with low self-esteem.
Yep.
So they speak to that, of course, right? And if you've been violated by someone you trust,
come on,
in the interim of your childhood, and you grow with that pain, you grow with that unresolved issue, and you get into a place where you're rebellious and you don't want to do this and you don't want to do that, and you move and you do things out of that pain.
That's right.
You learn how to develop a mentality or you learn how to develop an instinct for opportunity.
Ooh, for the wrong opportunity.
Yes, ma'am.
And let me say this.
Go ahead.
And that's even coming from the pulpit to the directorship, to the choir. I'm telling you, and from teachers. Let me say this, and I think Davian and I are on the same page. It is not right to have inappropriate relationships
Absolutely.
with the kid. If that kid is 5, 3, and 2, and you are 22, 32, and you have issues, sexual issues with the child, please go get some help.
Get help.
Go to a therapist and get help. Because I can assure you this. You probably have a 5-year-old kid yourself.
Yes.
So you okay with one of your friends making out with your child? See, I am really big on this, and I taught this with my students. I had a student, I'll never forget it. She cursed out a teacher, and I went in there to try to diffuse it. I'm going to make a point, and I'll be done. And so I told the young lady, you don't need to do that because it may happen to you. Guess what? That young lady went to the gym. Not 5 minutes later, another student out nowhere cursed her out and jumped on her. And do you know the student came to me and said, Ms. Murray, you told me that was going to happen. Watch what you do. I think we don't say this enough. I told my parents, I wish you would have told me that as a kid. Okay, why should you do? Because go come back. If I never heard it. I got more of it when I got older.
Yes.
Now, I'm telling you, pastors,
Yeah.
choir directors, you quit. I know people that have been in the church 20 years that have been looking at a boy since he was 5 years old and went after him. I've seen grown men look at a girl that grew up. It's got to stop.
Yeah.
Teachers, it's got to stop.
And the stigma is not just for men.
No, women.
It's for women too.
Messing with, oh my God, a teacher finds an 18-year-old boy attractive.
Yeah.
Why? It's not right.
It's a stigma that works both ways.
It does.
But like I say, you develop that develop that instinct for opportunity as a child because you're trying to escape that pain. You're trying to escape that frustration, and not being heard is typically the reason why. Because either you addressed it and it wasn't taken into consideration, and that's a big issue within our community. Or you don't address it, and nobody hears your pain, and you're frustrated.
And so that's really bigger.
Yes, and you find an instinct for opportunity. So when those two directives meet at the crossroad, you got a pimp that know, and you got a young little girl that don't, or a boy that don't.
Yeah, young little boy.
All you see is a way out. You see an opportunity. That's what you're instinctively drawn to, is the opportunity for the way out.
But I think what's sad, because you had pain inflicted on you.
Yes.
Why would you want to inflict pain on somebody else? Now that's something wrong.
That's
That's what I'm saying. Now if you know it hurt me, why would I want to hurt?
So it goes back to that functional behavior, that functional way, that in the function in which you did it, it's gonna come back to you, and that's how it presents itself. And I think that as families take a look at these things that are going on, that have been going on forever,
And incest. Let's not forget about
all
that. Yeah.
all these things that are being exposed in this season about children and children needing to be protected, it's been going on for a long time. But as it's being highlighted, and not by the media or news, it's just being highlighted throughout socially,
Right.
throughout social media, Facebook, things like that. Those things are coming out. Families, you have to take a new approach in what the word protection means. Learn that it starts with behavior and the deflecting of behavior and what it is that's being deflected on your children, because it stems from who you are. They're watching you. They're watching your every move. You've got to learn that protection starts in the mind first. Before they could ever be protected in their natural body, they've got to be protected mentally and spiritually first.
In their mind.
Because that's where the war happens. That's where the house is being built. That's where life is going to teach all of its lessons. Everything's going to take place in the mind.
In the mind. But isn't that where, that's the mind.
If it's not fortified,
come on,
it will not stand.
What a man what was it said? Whatever you think, it is. What a man
so
think.
is a man think. Yeah, so is he. If it is not fortified, whatever's in the mind will not stand.
That's right.
And so, securing your children's mental and spiritual places is vital for protecting and saving our children, because there are a lot of children that just don't know. And you have to sit down and, like I said, it's environmental, it's parental, or whatever that guidance is. But third, the element of communication that we've been talking about.
Absolutely,
You have to talk to your children. You have to have conversations. You cannot just assume that children don't need to know, or they won't understand, or they can't incapable of understanding. They can understand what you give them to understand.
And have conversations even when they don't want. I have a 21-year-old. They don't want to talk to me. I make myself, because I need you all to know, it as being a parent, sometimes it's not easy when you have attitude, constant attitude. It wears thin on a parent.
Yes,
I know it does, and it ongoing attitude.
Yes,
it does. So I wanted to know. I wanted to get out that yes, you are so right. Communicate. Now I'm saying, in the real world, I know that you have some kids that don't want to communicate. They tell you to get out the room. They don't want to be bothered. I guarantee you, if you pray and ask the Lord to open up an opportunity, it will be one.
Oh yeah.
What I want to know, I want you to know this: parent is not easy without the man who created parenting. And that's very important. So I want to share that.
Yes, absolutely. And so we're going to slide into our takeaway portion. We've had a lot of food for thought.
Oh, my God,
And next week, we're still talking about our children, so y'all are going to get even more of it.
Which we love.
But, yes, we love our children. But that element of save our children, fortify their minds, protect their mental states, their spiritual states at all costs. And what will happen is, because you cannot control an adversary. You can't control a violator. You can't control. What you can do, though, is you can bring your child into a space of safety in their mentality, that if something does happen, they know they can come to you. They know that you're going to do something about it. They know that they are going to be protected.
Absolutely.
And that violation, although it will not go away, it will be different in the way that they respond. That trauma will be different, because they will have been supported through it.
Absolutely.
So often that trauma happens and no support comes from it.
None. And they will get mad. Let me share this. You have some that you do something about, and they get mad because you said something. I know what I'm talking about. Still say something.
Oh, yeah.
Because
they'll see it differently later.
Absolutely. That's all I'm saying. I don't want us to come leaving this podcast saying it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. But speaking up is vital.
It's vital.
And it doesn't matter if the other end doesn't get it. They see that you did something.
Yes. So we'll go into our last element. This has been so good.
Yes, it has.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
I'm loving it. Yes, thank you for coming on. Our last portion is our takeaway. So do you have a takeaway that you want to give to our parents? And of course, you guys know this is the challenge portion. So this is what you need to do in the next 7 days or however many days to kind of take away from this podcast. So.
My takeaway for the parents here is, number one, as he was talking and all that, God downloaded to me, you're going to have to pray. Yes. Because even in our human effort, that's still not, it's you got to do something, but that's just a portion of it. But you need to pray, take away daily for your children's mind, emotional, mental, financial, and let me say this, their friends. I pray so much for my kids' influence. Well, they're not kids, are grown, but pray for their influence, and then pray for God to reveal to you. Because you might, sometimes you got to protect them from their own family members. You got to protect them from it's so many things that if you don't pray about it, you will go crazy worrying about what you're protecting them from. Yeah. I don't want you to leave like that on this from Arnetta Murray. You say this, Arnetta told me to pray and to, with Davion, be involved and watch. I guarantee things will work better for you. That's what I can tell you, because we can't be everywhere. As he said earlier, you can't be everywhere with your kids. But I guarantee you, if you communicate with them, if you pray for them, if you seek out help, if you can't do it, and you pray, hey, you can't go wrong.
No, ma'am. Absolutely. 100% agreed. 100% agreed. I love it. So my takeaway on today is to encourage both parents and children to employ conversations for the current climate.
That's
again, we've talked about it a little bit, but save our children is real.
It's real.
And talk about those things. Remember that safety starts in the mind first, as I've stated before.
That's right.
So let's break down barriers through conversation and truth. Parents give your children the opportunity to tell you the truth without judgment and without consequence.
Yes.
And if therapy is needed, seek it.
Please do.
Whatever is truly needed to clear the mind and the space of your child's mentality, do whatever it takes so that the safe space that's necessary can exist in their own minds first, within their own home, and within the ones that they were put on earth to learn love from first.
Beautiful.
Remember, you are their first teacher. You are the one that is the example first, not the only, because as she said, there are friends and other influences that come into our children's life, but you are the first. So when their reaction comes, guess what they learn their first reaction from? You.
That's right.
So create a safe space in your children's mind. Give them opportunities to clear their head, because there's so much going on. Again, remember the analogy. They're building the house. The house is being built in their mind. And if you've ever seen a building being built, it is a messy process already. So we don't need extra things being thrown in to further create obstacles from building that house up. Clear these children's mind and give them a safe space in their mind.
In their mind.
So that way, when they come to you, they know that it's safe to come to you. It's safe to be around certain people. And if it's not, make that clear. Because you don't know, some things you don't know until it happens.
Yeah.
But I will guarantee you this: God always shows a sign.
Yes, He will. All the time.
You have, if your mind is not a safe space, you won't receive the sign. If your children's mind is not a safe space, they won't receive the sign. You have to clear and declutter some things out of your mental capacity. Create safe spaces for yourself, for your children, for your mentality, so that your home is safe, so that the people you hang around is safe. That's how we save our children.
I like that.
That's how we save our children.
I like that.
Thank you so much, Arnetta Murray. I have enjoyed this conversation.
Yes.
And let the people know where they can find you, connect with you.
Yes, I'm Arnetta Murray. Look, you can connect with me on Twitter, Arnetta Murray. Same thing, you can connect with me on Instagram. And guys, you know I am running for re-election. I am a councilwoman in the city of our colony. That is right after Pearland. You know about it. You know about it. So check me out. I need your vote. Anybody live in Meridiana, Sierra Vista, Sterling Lakes. I'm telling you, it is a very up and coming community. We've been listed as one of the fastest growing communities because of Pearland is no more room in Pearland, so everybody come in my way. Vote for me. I appreciate it. It is a blessing to do that. Then I'm a Rotarian, Herman Park Rotary Club. It is about humanitarian efforts, getting in there and doing something to help all communities, not just our own. Then NAACP, I'm part of that too as well. Yes, I am real about who I am. Get out and make a difference. Look, your vote matters. When you don't vote, it speaks volumes. Vote. I don't care what it takes. Vote. I don't care. It is pivotal. And it's not about voting for me, because no matter what, I'm going to win regardless, because God has so much more in store for me, and I know that. So again, Arnetta Murray. Check me out. My website is votearnettamurray.com. You can make some donations, because I do need it. Peace.
All right. So y'all have a blessed one. Take all of these things into consideration. Y'all know where y'all can find me, _Council's Kitchen on Instagram, Council's Kitchen everywhere else. Check out a YouTube page, subscribe as well. And thank you again to Deonza Albright at Freegame Productions for producing this episode. It has been a joy to my soul. Y'all know I love kids. And so, again, make this conversation about your children. Let them hear the podcast if they need to. Have topical discussion about the podcast. Do something. Don't let this fall on deaf ears. Don't let this be for naught. Do something with what it is that you've heard on today. So I love you. You have a blessed one, and you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. All right. So y'all have a blessed one.